In a quiet and peaceful place, a light chase begins on the playground between a squirrel and two cats, one at a time. The squirrel keeps running after the cats until they reach the largest statue in the city, and keeps running until he can finally reach the roof of the statue. There he meets Ball, the orphan girl who has no friends other than the two cats. In the end, she provided them with this new Yasin jab that she had taken. They got to know their beautiful city from above, and she introduced him to herself and to the members of her gang, which are two shots, and then she told him about her beautiful city, the Peruvian regiment, about herself, who live in the utmost elegance. And she told him that it was the slogan of the kingdom. It is to build the city. You must know where the nobles are sitting. From the moment you put up this slogan, no one understands its meaning, and of course in the center of the city is a large statue of what they are, and this is made of stone, of King Shubaldao, the late ruler of the city. As for Lord Tristan, he is the one who rules the city. Currently, he has 15 years on the throne, and it is clear that he does not want to leave it at all, and he will do the impossible so that he remains the ruler. As for the remaining living ruler of the country, he will be Roland, the strong young man who is good at fencing with the sword, and who will be 20 years old tomorrow, and then there will be his right if he regains the throne. Look at a big, solid celebration. But I wonder if Tristan will let him do that? Let's see how she concludes by talking to the squirrel, that she doesn't care who rules because she is an orphan and lives her life simply and freely without spending much, so she eats and drinks all her transportation sweets, meaning that she stands on top of the houses. And she usually goes with her and her little capital, not with the royal guard Cropper, who at that time, we find that he hires a new brother for the thieves who come to steal food from him, and of course she disguises herself, so that he does not know all of it. And along with a magical movement, she speeds up the food and also escapes from it, even if she also gets involved. He grows up in trouble because he finds Lord Tristan in front of him. They ask about what he is doing. Gruber tries to explain to the Lord that he was going to arrest the thief who was stealing food so that he could deliver him to the kingdom and be promoted and take the title of knight. But unfortunately, Tristan takes a liking to him and tells him that he is not useful for anything. And when we go back to the heart of God, she is not always happy because she is free, and she does whatever she feels like, because she sees the children playing with each other, and when she goes and tries to play with them, their families prevent her because she is homeless. And many times she wishes she had family who love her, and at this time it is late night at the royal palace. But Tristan will go crazy because tomorrow he is supposed to hand over the throne to Ronaldo. The truth is that he does not intend to do that. On the contrary, he is planning to kill himself. He comes in the morning, and it is the birthday of the new heir to the throne, and the people of the whole country are preparing to hang decorations in all the streets, and in celebration. Kabir is preparing in the palace, and all the nobles and friends will attend so that Roland will receive the throne from Tristan. But let us remember that the only ones allowed to enter the palace are the nobles. And of course in the scene he missed the opportunity for a celebration like this in which there will be free food and drink until the morning, and in fact she goes to disguise herself and wear a beard and mustache. A royal hand enters the palace as if she were one of the nobles, bringing gifts to the king, and as soon as she passes the gate, she and her juicer run to the dining area and go straight down, opening it without any mercy. At that time, the fun band arrives to attend the celebration and make music and performances and everything. This is what happened, and there was with them in the group a young man named Bigler, who, although he was a little strange and spoke from his stomach, was a bit arrogant. That is, he had a bride with him, holding her in his hand and moving her around while he was speaking from his stomach. But the problem was that Jigel kicked Hazar, and his naughtiness was about the nobility. And of course Petrie. On them. He also insults them. That's why the uncle of the leader of the fun troupe always forbade him from using the bride, because if he told a political joke or another about a calamity, they would be arrested. But she was very surprised by what he and his bride were doing, and this was something they were very upset about. He was also happy that he heard the first time someone was laughing at me. He is happy and recognizes her, and they are still talking to each other. They find a large car inside the palace, making a noise around it. This car belongs to the Dizzy Eleanor, who is the aunt of King Roland and who loves her nephew. She is happy that he will finally take the throne, and she blesses him by telling him a dangerous secret about his father, the king. Sabat and Alcira and Al-Naposable are a great and solid treasure. But in order to find him, he must solve the riddle, and she whispers to her friend the riddle that will lead to the treasure. At that time, he is adult, and Jigil raises you, and we listen, and everything except the riddle that will inform them of the location of the treasure. The public is still talking to Roland. No, Triss suddenly interrupted their conversation. Of course, he knew what this woman was saying to Roland, but he didn't know anything. So he went out to the public and took Roland with him because he wanted to talk to him about the throne, and after hearing the topic of the treasure, he kept stealing it. But at that time the guard Kuro threw it according to V's movement. Eating place. When he goes to see the issue, he meets my friends. If they were still arrested, I would have taken them and ran away with them while they were looking at pictures of a high tower reaching a suspicious place. The problem was that this room was full of strange, solid, colored solutions and liquids, nothing but magic books and skeletons. But the most important thing is that there is a picture of Tristan when he was young with an old and well-known witch. This topic is starting to get weird. We continue. Bill Squirrel shows that he likes the place and starts to walk around and play comfortably. He goes to the place of Azza, the woman of the strange women, together, and when a girl comes, I see the disaster he has caused, and she finds vinegar. We asked, one with your hands drawn on it, and the other with a cat drawn on it. And so it remains an experiment that succeeded in the first one with a few pieces. But I wonder whose share? The important thing is that when they hear Tristan and Roland's voice as they come up to the tower, they all hide, and when they meet Tristan, Roland tells him that he has been ruling for 15 years and his father, King Swords Adam, has been on the phone. If he feels that he does not have the responsibility of ruling now, Tristan can wait until he is ready, even though he is sacrificing his comfort and happiness in order to continue ruling and support other workers who will take care of people's affairs. But Roland thanks Tristan, and they say that he has grown old. He still has the responsibility and is able to assume power and carry out all duties. Tristan would have tried in a calm and beautiful way to prefer a throne, but it did not work. So he was forced to resort to celebrating with a Roland 30 cup with his hands. He had prepared a mixture of poisons like this in order to kill him with it. Rolando, the surprise is that it is the same mixture that a squirrel made for the strange liquids. The important thing is that Roland drinks a cup of this strange mixture, and at the same time Rustam greets him and tells him a sweet story about the little boy who loved the king and himself still had power and influence like him. But no, their uncle Haramu is able to want him to learn magic at the hands of the kingdom's witch. For many years, he was away from the throne, but he did not deviate from his dream, so he decided that he would use what he had learned to make the dream come true, so he would put the king's mark on him and kill him. He would still be the new arrival on the throne. No, he also accused the witch who was his nanny and wanted to teach him magic. She was the one who killed the king at dawn, and the guards were behind her so that they could be arrested. On her. At that time, the fun troop. At that time, the witch fled to the cursed forest and remains there until now. After this man was able to seize power for 15 years, the son of the king who killed him in order to take the throne from him again is coming, and of course it is not her. Excuse me, we know that the child who killed the king was Tristan. The surprise is that the mixture around Roland Kama actually cut off half a rooster and half a cat, and she saw everything that happened, and suddenly Rustam saw her trying to escape, after she saw that he was an adulterer and came after her to kill her. After all this talk, but she was able to escape from him at the same moment that Rolando Bell is trying to escape from Tristan, who wanted to kill her. The guard arrives, Cropper, and sees the prince transforming. Tristan then asks the guard to arrest the little boy who is doing this, because he is the one who did the magic, the prince, and of course this boy is Belle in disguise. The important thing is that she and her 3 friends can escape, and this time they will have a new friend, the prince, and Linda has a mind to make an agreement with Prince Roland. She is the only one who saw what happened, and the only one too she can help him, and he will come back again, but on the condition that the plot of his father is her father. He is actually forced to agree because he wants someone to save him at that time. She even steals a princess's dress and wears it to disguise herself, but she finds the guard in her face and he thinks that she is a princess and asks her if she saw such a strange animal that he meant for a mirror, but it was a brain, raising Roland on a plate of chicken between meals. But then a chef took Roland the chicken to serve at the party. When they saw Cropper in the dish they brought, the cook ran after Hubel to save him, and at the same time Tristan was looking for Bill and Rolando. At that time, the Fun Troupe and Jal Jar were presenting their segment to the audience, and he asked him. He even showed him his bride and told him that she was a politician in order to distract people. At that time, the guard, Tristan, Belby, and Rolando were all dragging what he had in order to catch him, but she ran ahead and took it quickly to save him from the king, and at that time it was a thud. Cropper, the guard, will also help. And Alfie, she tells them that she wants to give Roland to the witch who is in the terrifying forest so that she can return to her origin again, and she asks them to help her reach the forest, and Ruber tells you that as a princess she will leave him. So send and help her in his mission. So Rob agrees, and they begin their journey on the road. Roper rides on a horse and treats her as if she were an actual princess, and all the people talk about the princess and her beauty and greet her, and when they sit and relax, he makes her food and serves her and sees that she is a good princess. So he makes her a wooden statue and gives her a gift, and perhaps at that time Belle will feel guilty because of her. You will deceive him. You won't achieve it. His dream, on the other hand, is that we see Tristan going to a strange and frightening place, and this is because he hires criminals and professional killers who know the whereabouts of Pal and whoever is with her, and also find them all. As for Pal, she and her group are finally able to reach the cursed forest. But the problem is that when they find the witch, she refuses to help them and also harms them outside the forest. But don't let her go and go after her, and tell her about what happened and tell her that she knew everything. She knows that the witch of Tristan's love is like her son and taught him everything. In the end, he wasted on her and let her live as an outcast for 15 years, but she was comforted by the fact that all of this would change. If she returns the prince and agrees that she will help them, but the witch will perform the spell that will return him to the prince. She wants a unicorn questioner or a unicorn horse. This one lives in the city of the committed, and they must go and get it from there, but you advise them of the most important thing, which is that they should always stay away from the shadows, and at that time, and even those who are with him. Leave the prince with the witch so that he stays safe, and they go and get it. The orders, and when they reach the city of the werewolves, they meet a simple man who wants to sing a beautiful actor. In front of him is an example of a union corn in front of them all the time, but the problem is that he is in the shadows, and then a unicorn pretends to be like this and says that he will go and get it. The problem is that as soon as he enters the country, to the man who buys sheep, suddenly he turns into a unicorn but is a predator and runs after them as a unicorn he answers the questioner and goes running to defend them. And in the end they are able to return the witch with her request, and she succeeds in doing the medicine that will bring back Roland the second prince. But here there was a problem, which is that you are a roper. The first time the prince came back to Talim Nabil fulfilled her promise and made him a knight, but she with utmost sadness, you tell him the truth, which is that she is not a princess, and that she is the forbidden person who was stealing food from him. At that time, he understands that she deceived him and took advantage of him, so they become upset when Nabil tells you to go after Hydri to apologize to him, but the surprise remains that they find Tristan in the face of him and his criminal gang. But what is the matter? She tells him that they won't meet for a while, and she advises him to walk away because she won't let him hurt the princess, but she doesn't know that he was ready, and he brought some criminals with him after him, and he shoots an arrow on the run. But in the end she ransoms him, and she takes the arrow in her heart, and she falls to the ground. Roland is standing, and she sees what's happening. It happens, and it affects Tristan and the army that is with them. He prefers to hit them, but despite his strength, it is too much for him, and he replaces it with pictures. After that, Tristan will leave among the throne, and all of them will be arrested, along with the witch. Tristan will return to the palace, feeling upset with himself, and with the witch in the Rouge group. They say that this harmful witch, just as he killed Elsie and the king's country in the past, killed Roland's son. That's why he decided to execute her and her aides in the morning. He also decided that he would remain the true king of the country and sacrifice his beautiful comfort. The arrow that entered Belle ended up in the statue that Cropper made for her while she was still alive, and the strangest thing is that she finds Roland as well. He is living and clinging to a rock that has no place under it. She finds the magic broom belonging to the witches, so she rides on it and saves Rolando. They all go to the palace, and he tells her that she fulfilled her promise and brought him back as a prince. That is why he will also fulfill his promise to her and give her his father's treasure. When the king finds him because he does not know where the treasure is at all, his aunt tells him that he must solve the puzzle, which was a sentence of the city's coat of arms, in order to find her and build the city. She must know where the nobles were sitting at that time. But you finally understand the purpose of the city's strange logo. But I wonder, what is the solution? The important thing is that it is time for them to come to blows over the three who killed Rolando. After Tristan kills them, Tristan will declare himself king of the country again, and he is still executing Cropper in the field. When people find Belle, she enters them and strikes all the guards. She understands all the people who did Tristan, and suddenly Prince Roland enters and tells them that Tristan, he is the one who killed his father, and then Tristan escapes, and the criminals begin destroying the country on Tristan's orders, but Ben, the princess, and those who were with him decide to carry out the city. And the witch and her student go to 60 to stop him. But he is not satisfied and stops his dog, a large dragon, trying to make fire from a bug to protect him. As for Rolando, the rest of the group will fight the criminals. At that time, the witch will do a treatment to make the dog return to normal again. But you have to eat it to the dog, and the dragon will kidnap Belle to kill her. But the witch and the little animals are trying to deliver medicine to Belle or Cropper. So he gets out of the cannon and flies to Belle to save her and sell them both on the arm of the king's statue. Surprisingly, Nabil finds C's treasure and then goes to where the nobles were sitting on the king's shoulder, so she comes out. She searches for the treasure, and as for Tristan, he goes after it. But the strange thing is that she finds the treasure consisting of a piece of paper with geometric drawings on it. As for Phil, she resorts to a strong trick, which is that she dips Tristan's dog bone in the medicine in order to remove it for him. It is all a dragon, and it returns to its normal size, another dog, and then Tristan falls and the whole statue collapses. The surprising thing is that the one who saves Tristan is Roland himself, but this is to make him leave the country and never come back again, him and his gang. And at that time I was an example of Bean and her friends, as well as Clubber, who sacrifices himself to save Pal. After the Jared statue fell, she was trying to save Cropper and was crying because she was afraid of losing him. But this is safety in the end. Happiness and stability returned to the country again, and the witch returned to live in the city and teach the children the magician, and Roland began to implement his father's plan that was drawn on the paper, which was the treasure, meaning he would actually go out to build the city. You must know the location of the Council of Nobles. The paper that was in the box was plans for a hospital, an orphanage, a library, and many buildings that would help the people. This was the end. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell button, and wait for the rest. And just that.